Good morning everyone, how's it going today? My name is Alejandro and I'm a software developer working from France. In today's video I'm going to show you how to develop a React Leaflet application, or React Leaflet component actually. And actually I'm just showing you pretty quick the end result of what we're going to be building today. So basically you have an interactive map, you have some markers right here, and each one with its own pop-up. And also something pretty interesting about it is that when you zoom out, these markers that were pretty close together, they get clustered together into one single marker, one single icon, displaying the number of markers behind it. So that's what we do with the leaflet marker cluster. And I'm going to show you how to do this in React. Pretty quick, pretty simple. So let's get right into it. Okay. Now for this video, I'm going to be using Code Sandbox. It's basically just so that we have this project already set up with React, but you can also follow from a local environment if you create your app using Vite or create React app, etc. Okay, just going to show you pretty quick the environment right here. We have our app.js, which is where we're going to be building our map. We have index.js as well, which is the root of our application. And also, of course, we have our index.html, which is the HTML page where our React app is going to be included. Let me show you something pretty quick as well. We have some styles.css that are imported into our application, and I'm actually going to change some things here pretty quick. Just some standard things. Let's set the box sizing to border box like that. Then let's set the margin to 0, and then let's set the padding to 0 so that we have actually full control of our sizing and our styles in this application. Second of all, we have that our application is going to be running on the div with the ID of root, and I'm just going to set it a height of 100 VH. All right. So I think that's all that we're going to be doing here on style.css, and let's get right into building our application. All right. So what are we going to start by doing? First of all, actually, we're going to install Leaflet and React Leaflet. And to do that, we're going to have to install them right here, adding the dependencies. So I'm just going to look for Leaflet like this, and I'm going to look for React Leaflet. Leaflet like this. Okay. Just so you know, what I'm doing right here when I'm adding dependencies is pretty much the same thing as if I was just doing npm install leaflet, npm install React Leaflet. Okay, as you can see, after what I just did right here, they just appear in my package.json right here, Leaflet and React Leaflet, just as if I had installed them using npm install. Okay, so that's how it works. Now let's go back to our application right here, now that we have installed these dependencies that we need, and let's start importing our components. Okay, the first component that we're going to need to import, it comes from React Leaflet, and it is MapContainer like this. MapContainer from React Leaflet. Okay, now this is actually not a default export, so we're going to have to import it like this. And let's just replace whatever is inside here with this new component that we have imported. So it's going to be MapContainer like that, and it's actually going to have an opening tag and a closing tag as well, because we're going to put a lot of things inside it. All right, there we go. Now in order to initialize it, we're going to have to actually set it center like this. And for this video, I'm actually going to center it in the city of Paris, and the coordinates for the city of Paris, I actually have them right here. So let me just copy them and paste them like this. Okay, So these are the coordinates where your map is going to be centered on. And then you also need to pass in a second param, which is going to be the zoom level, okay? I don't remember exactly which are the zoom levels available on Leaflet, but I mean, if you want to see the entire city from a distance, a zoom of 13 usually works pretty well, okay? Now, there you go. Now we have our map container. The problem is that the map doesn't have anything inside of it, and in order for our map to have something inside of it, we need to actually show the map tile layer, okay? And that's very easy to do. If you saw my previous video on, I mean, pretty much the same tutorial about Leaflet, but without using React, just using vanilla JavaScript, you know that we have to use TileLayer. But right here, React Leaflet creates a very, very convenient component that we can just add like this. Now this is going to be a self-closing tag, and inside the tile layer, which is going to be the actual component that is going to show the tiles of our map, the first thing that we're going to want to add is the property of attribution. We're going to be using OpenStreetMap, which is a free map provider. And I mean, it would be pretty nice if at least we just attribute it to them. It's already free, so it doesn't cost us a lot. This right here, what we're adding right here, is basically what you can see down here at the bottom, OpenStreetMap contributors. Just so, I mean, just to attribute it. We're already getting it for free, so next we're going to add the actual URL of the tile, and to do that, actually we can go to Leaflet.js, and here we have a map tile layer that they use for their tutorial, and it looks pretty good, so we're just going to use it ourselves too, like that. There you go. Now if we hit save, we should have our map working. But the problem right here, actually, you know what? I'm going to just add it like this. Alright, so the problem right here is that we already have our map and it's supposed to be loading and everything's supposed to be working correctly. Let me just reload this so that you see that we don't have any errors in the console. But the problem is that our map really doesn't look very good. The tiles are all over the place and it doesn't seem to be loading correctly for some reason, but I mean, at least we're getting something. Alright, so the problem with this happens is that Leaflet actually consists of a JavaScript side and of a CSS side. Now when we do npm install, we're getting both of them, but we're actually, for the moment, we're just importing the JavaScript side because we're only importing the JavaScript components, the React components. So what I'm going to do right here is actually import the CSS, just like that. And I'm going to say that it comes from Leaflet, and if I'm not mistaken, the path to the actual CSS is dist dot and then leaflet.css. There you go. All right. So now we have Leaflet being loaded into our application, but another problem again. The map is gone. And why is this happening? The problem is actually that the map is actually loading. Let me show you pretty quick. If we inspect this map right here, we have the ID root and we have our Leaflet container right here. But the problem, if you see, is that it has a, let me show you. The problem is that it has a height of 0 for some reason. And actually, the reason is that we actually have to set a size for this container. To do this, we're just going to go back to our styles. And this is pretty important. Every time you work with Leaflet, we're just going to set the sizing of map container. And the map container is called Leaflet container by default. And let's just set a height of 100 viewport height. There you go. So now we're going to get a full screen map. I'm just going to refresh it so that you see what's going on. And there you go. We have our working map centered in Paris as we wanted it to be at the beginning. So there we go. What else can we do right now? All right, so we have added our map container, our tile layer. Let's just add some markers to it, okay? All right. So how do we add some markers? I'm going to make it as though we were actually importing the markers from an API. So I have here just an array of markers that we are going to be able to use. It's every marker in this like mock API that I'm supposed to be testing returns a geocode with the location of the marker, and it also has some HTML test for the pop-up. Okay, so each marker is going to have its own pop-up and its own location. So let's do that. Now, in order to show you how to do it, I'm going to map through all of these elements, okay? So first of all, we're going to call the markers, and then we're going to use the map method around it, and we're going to say that for each marker right here, we're going to be returning our marker element like this. Now, as you can see, I imported marker from Leaflet by default, but we actually don't want it from Leaflet. We want it to come from React Leaflet. So let's add it like this. There you go. And now here, let's create our marker. There you go. Now this is supposed to work if I'm not mistaken. There you go. And in order for your marker to actually work, you're gonna want to set a position to it. And the position of our marker in this case actually comes from our element right here, and it's going to be marker.geocode. Okay, so let's just write it down here. Marker.geocode. There you go. So, all right, so now we have our 3 markers, and it's working pretty good. The problem is that we don't have an icon for these markers. Of course, Leaflet comes with a default marker icon that you can use, and you can activate it if you call back the core of Leaflet. But actually, this is a pretty good opportunity to show you how to create your own custom icon. Okay. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to actually create our custom icon like this. Now that we have imported the markers right here, and a little bit down here, I'm going to create my custom icon like this. There you go. And actually to do this, I'm going to have to create a new icon. And this one right here actually is not a React component, but this one actually comes from Leaflet. So I'm just going to say import new icon, and this one actually comes from Leaflet. So I'm just going to save it like this. And this instance, actually to initialize it, we require 2 things, okay? The first param that we require is icon URL, like this. And the second one is the size, okay? So for the icon size, we're just going to set it to very standard 38.38 pixels. This is going to be the size of the icon. There you go. And now this right here is going to be the icon URL that we're going to load in order to actually show something right here. There are several things that you can do. For example, let's say that we want an icon from flat icon. All right. Let's say that we want, let's say, which one do you want? We can actually use, this one. How about that? Yeah, we can use this one. So one possibility is that you can download it and import into your application. That works pretty good. And another possibility is that you can just copy the URL of this image, and it sometimes works. Let me see if this works this time. So let's come back to our application right here and let's just paste it right here. And let's see if that works. Well, for some reason that's not working. Oh, wait, sorry. Actually, this is obviously not going to work because we're not using our custom icon yet. Actually, another element that we have to add right here is the icon. So in order to add an icon, you just set an icon param here, and you're going to pass your custom icon. And my custom icon is custom icon like this, and actually it works. So there you go. You have our 3 icons that come from our flat icon CDN directly. Or another possibility, of course, is that you can basically just download it or use your own icon that you designed in an SVG or a PNG format. Okay, so let's say I want this one instead. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to download it. And once it's downloaded, I'm going to add it here to my project. And I'm going to add it to image. There you go. Oops. I'm going to put it inside an image folder and I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to say that the name is going to be marker icon, like that. So this is the one that we're going to be using now. And in order to actually make it work, we're going to want to import it right here. So instead of calling the actual URL like this, I'm just going to comment this out and I'm going to add a new icon URL param right here. And I'm going to require the icon that I have just added to my image folder. Okay, so it's right here and it's inside image, and the name of the file is marker icon.png, if I'm not mistaken. And here we're missing a comma. There you go. So now our marker is working correctly. Be sure that actually you have set the icon size, because if we remove this thing, the actual size of the icon is going to be the actual size of the image, which you probably don't want, right? So yeah, be sure to set the icon size to like a pretty standard size is 38 by 38, or you can also add something different like 40 or something. I mean, but there you go. I mean, this is pretty important thing to do. So there you go. So that was how to create custom icons. We created our element from the Leaflet library, and then we just imported it here as a param to our marker component. So there you go. Then how about we actually add the pop-up to our markers. So to do that, basically we're just going to want to add a pop-up element. And since this one right here is a React component, we're just also going to have to import it from React Leaflet. So now that we have imported it right here, we can use it down here. And let's do pop like that. And inside right here, we can add any pop-up, and it's going to be bound to the marker in question. Okay. So, and inside right here, actually, you can add any HTML that you want. That's why Leaflet pop-ups are so good. I mean, it's just a space where you can add your own HTML. So let me see. Let's just add an H2, and let's say, hello, I'm a pop-up. There you go. And then we can check here, right here, and there you go. We have 3 pop-ups. But the problem is that the 3 pop-ups right here are identical, and we want each of them to have their own pop-up. So remember that we imported our markers right here, and we are pretending that they come from an API, and the actual pop-up comes with, the actual marker comes with an attribute property called pop-up, and this is supposed to be some HTML. And so it's obviously going to be different for every marker. So we can just call this property right here. Instead of coding it this hard-coded, we can just add marker pop-up like that. And there you have it. Now each marker has its own pop-up. Pop-up 1, I am pop-up 2, and right here I am pop-up 3. So there you go. All right, so that's how to add markers and how to make your map work in React. Looking pretty good. Something pretty important as well, let's just have them cluster together, because I mean, so far if you zoom out, they just like become like too crowded in that very little space, very small space. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap all the markers in a different layer that is going to be the marker cluster layer. And that's very simple to do, but we're going to need another dependency right here. So let me add this dependency. It's going to be called React Leaflet. React Leaflet cluster, like that. There you go. Remember, this is exactly the same as if you had done npm install, okay? So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import this new component called import marker cluster group from React Leaflet cluster, like that. There you go. And this is the one that we're going to be using to actually create our cluster. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. Basically, this is a React component that we're going to add right here. And we're going to wrap all of our markers around it like this. There you go. So I mean, basically now it's supposed to be, there you go, there you have it. If we zoom out, we have this new cluster group. It displays the number of elements that are behind it. As you can see, I mean, you probably cannot see it because it's very faint. I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, you can see that here it's a 3, and then if you click, I mean, it zooms in and it displays the three markers that are behind it. But right now what I'm going to show you how to do is to modify that icon right here to make it your own, okay? But first of all, something pretty important that you're going to want to do is right here inside marker cluster group, you're going to want to pass a couple of attributes. And the first one is going to be chunked loading, which basically is going to make it allow React to load each layer, each marker one by one instead of loading them all together. I mean, this is basically just to help with performance. And the second one is actually going to be our custom icon for the cluster. So this one's going to be icon create function, like this. And we're going to set it to our custom function. So let's call it create custom cluster icon. There you go. And now that we have actually assigned it, we're going to have to actually declare that function. So let's say we're going to declare it like this, and it's going to be a function that is going to take 1 second. It's going to take a cluster argument, and here we go. And it's the only thing that you have to remember about this function is that it's supposed to return a div icon element. And what is a div icon element? Well, it's an element that comes from Leaflet, so we're going to have to include it right here. Let's include div icon like this. I think it's actually with like that. There you go. So actually, we're going to want to return this thing right here. Or let's, return our new div icon like that. There you go. And then this one right here, we're actually initializing an instance of a div icon, and it takes several params. The first one is the HTML, which is actually just what's going to be displayed in this icon. And I'm just going to say that it's going to be a div for me. It's going to be a div for me, and there you go. And I'm just going to give it a class of cluster icon like this. There you go. And inside of it, we're going to want to actually display the number of markers that are inside that cluster. And to do that, actually, what I'm going to do is just call this cluster element that I imported right here. And I'm going to call the method get child count like that. So now you have now you're going to be able to display the count. I mean, if I zoom out, all right, there's a problem going on right here. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to add just an icon size. Maybe that's the problem that's going on. An icon size, I'm going to say that it's going to be a 0.3333 and true right here in the end. There we go. Let's see if that works. There is something going on right here. Let's just add this class name probably. Let's see if that works. All right, there's something going on right here. Const custom cluster icon. Icon create function is supposed to be this one. We're written create icon and it's causing a problem for some reason. Let's see. Each child in the list, you have a unique key prop. Yeah, I mean, of course, you're gonna want to deal with that at some point. I don't know what was going on just a moment ago, but there you go. I mean, it's working right now. So right now we have our cluster div right here. If you can see, this is a cluster. This is our cluster icon right here, and it's displaying the number 3, which is the number of markers that are behind it. And there you go. So I mean, we have the class cluster icon, which is actually the class that we're gonna want to edit in order to actually style it neatly, right? And I'm going to do it right here in styles.css. There you go. What are we gonna do with it? So let's say we're gonna want to make it a circle, all right? So let's give it a height of 3 rem and a width, not widths, but width of 3 rem too. Now, in order to make it a circle, we're going to have to set a border radius of 50%, like that. And let's set a background color. Let's set it to white. Let's see what happens. There you go. So now we have our circle right here, and it's supposed to display our number of markers inside of it. The problem is that the number of markers is very small, and it's actually all the way up here. And if you see what's going on, actually the marker center is up here, and our div is over here. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna have to center this thing up here, and that's very simple to do. We just transform, if I'm not mistaken, and then translate it. There you go, -50% and -50%. Let's see how that works. Now if we move it up, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I think maybe it's not supposed to be 50% here. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. -25 probably. Yeah, this seems to actually be the center. I don't know why it's 25. I thought it was minus 50%, but well, there you go. I mean, the idea is to center it over the actual cluster. And then let's just center our number right here. So let's say display flex. And let's just center everything inside of it. Align item center and justify content center. And then let's just add some color to it. I mean, the color is black. Let's just leave it like that. And let's just add a font weight of 900 and a font size of 2 rems. Let's see how that works. Let's make it 1.5. There you go. So now you have your actual icon. And then if you click on it, you have the different markers. So there you go. So that was how to create your custom cluster icon and how to make it show your markers with their pop-ups behind it. Now finally, as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to actually change the look and feel of your map. And to do that, we're going to actually change this. I mean, because right here, as you can see, it's a very, very standard kind of map. So in order to actually change how your map looks, you're going to have to add a skin to it, or change the provider. Right here, we're using OpenStreetMap, but we can use other providers. So let's say, to actually find different providers, you can just Google for leaflet skins. And I think it's this one right here. Yeah. So right here you will find several skins that you can use for your map, and be sure to choose one that you know that you can use. In order to know if you can use them, you can go to their GitHub page, and right here they have the instruction for each of the providers right here. So I mean, for example, let's say you're interested in this one right here. Here you have the instructions, you have the plain JavaScript that you can use, and you have the actual provider. And here the provider is OpenStreetMap .bzh. Let's see, what do we need for bzh? bzh, nope, it's not here actually. Probably that one's free. Let's see another one. Here, for example, this darker one. This one looks pretty good. And the provider for that one is Stadia. So let's see for Stadia, what are the requirements? So for Stadia, is it Stadia? Yeah, Stadia. There you go. For Stadia Maps. In order to use Stadia Maps, you must register, and once registered, you can whitelist your domain within your account settings. Yeah, I mean, so not all of these maps, not all of these skins are going to be completely free or completely available right out of the box. But I mean, you have the instructions on how to use them on their GitHub page. I, just for the sake of the demonstration, I'm just going to take the simplest and most and a free one. Let's say, I suppose it's watercolor. I remember that's the one that I used for the other video. I know that this one's free, so I'm just going to copy the actual TileLayer right here. You know what, I'm just going to copy all of this, and let's go back to our app right here. And in order to actually import it, I'm going to need this part right here. There you go. There you go. And this right here is basically just if we were using plain JavaScript for our app. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another tile layer. Remember that this one is self-closing, and just as before, very regular attribution. Stem and watercolor. And then our URL right here is going to be the URL we just downloaded. There you go. I think that is how it's supposed to work. Let's remove this one right here. Let's reload it, and there's some problem going on right here. Yes, what's going on here? Oh yeah, it's because, I mean, for some reason I needed to add an extension right here, but it's JPEG. Yeah, I mean, if it's not working for you, just do that. I mean, the default website usually just adds extension as a variable, but I'm just going to use JPEG like that. And now there you have it. You have your custom skin that is working pretty good. And you have your marker that's working. And remember, to add our skin, we just added a different tile layer, which is the component that is charged of actually importing and loading the tiles for our map. And yeah, I mean, if you want to use the basic one from OpenStreetMap, you can just comment this one out and then go back to the basic one. There you go. So that was how to create your React Leaflet map. I hope you found it useful. I hope you liked it. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and yeah, leave a like, and yeah, stay up and just like yeah, follow and enable notifications so that you're notified whenever I publish new videos. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a good one. I'll see you next time.